Welcome to the free case interview course by Highbridge Academy. In this course, we will introduce what a case interview is like and what your interviewer looks for in a case interview. Deliver a full solved case to give you a taste of the whole process. Teach you how to solve any case with our time-proven Highbridge 7 skills method with an additional full case. A consult interview typically takes around 1 hour. It all starts with a chit-chat. The interviewer will try to break the ice and make you more comfortable. They empathize that you're nervous and want to make you relax so you can demonstrate your true performance. Second, there is a personal fit section. Here, the interviewer will see whether you have the personality and the fit with the profession. In first rounds, it's perhaps 15 minutes long, but it can take longer in the final rounds, sometimes over 30 minutes. Third, business case. This is when the interviewer tests your problem-solving skills and business knowledge. Normally, 25 to 35 minutes are enough for the interviewer to check your skills and issue an opinion. And finally, Q&A. It's your chance to ask good questions to the interviewer. Now, what is the interviewer testing with a business case? Essentially, they want to see how you will behave in a real project if you're hired by the company. For that, you'll have to demonstrate 3 characteristics: problem solving, communication, and business sense. In problem solving, the interviewer wants to know, how do you deal with uncertainty? How do you handle a lot of data? Can you propose implementable solutions to a difficult problem? In communication, the interviewer also wants to see if you can clearly communicate your ideas in a professional way to your client. Moreover, how do you ask for help when you need it? In business sense, the interviewer is looking to answer, can you ask relevant questions? And can you show a genuine interest in solving business problems? Now, what types of cases will you face in a case interview? Here at Highbridge, we group the most common cases into the following 5 types: estimations or market sizing, financial problems, business decisions, brainstorming ideas, and execution plans. Now let's go through each type one by one. Estimations or market sizing require you to make an educated guess of the number or size of something. For example, you may encounter questions such as the population of an item. For instance, how many planes are in the sky at 9 a.m. every Wednesday? Or market sizing. What are the annual sales of dimmable light bulbs in the UK? Financial problems. As the name suggests, this type of cases focuses on financial related issues in business. For instance, why did Superwet's revenue decrease by 23% this year? Or why has the Mind Shop's profit been decreasing over the years? Business decisions. Any key decision making that the company is facing. For example, questions like, should Pony acquire Saramount? Or advise the government on whether to introduce military conscription. Brainstorming ideas. Multiple solutions to a given problem. How can your local supermarket cut costs? Or how to increase a logistics company's delivery efficiency. Lastly, execution plans. The next steps once the strategy is set. What advice would you give to Taylor Swift to help her become the next US president? What's your plan to start a future Fortune 500 company? Now we will demonstrate a real case interview to give you an idea of what a strong performance looks and sounds like. First is the case opening, where the interviewer will share the client situation, also known as the case prompt. The candidate listens to the prompt, takes notes, and recaps the information. The candidate asks clarifying questions about the case to ensure they fully understand the situation and the question. Next, the candidate requests a couple of minutes to structure their approach to the question. The interviewer might ask additional questions that require brainstorming. Almost all cases will have quantitative data for interpretation and calculations. Finally, the candidate will synthesize the case and provide their final recommendations to the case question using top-down communication supported by evidence. Without further ado, let's begin our case demonstration with the case Kai Drinks. All right, Philip, thank you for sharing your stories. Let's solve a case now. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Brilliant. Let's begin the case. Today, your client is called Kai Drinks. Kai Drinks is the market leader in the soft drink industry in the Philippines, holding 42% of the market share. Its 2 biggest competitors, Abelardo and Knox, hold 28 and 20% of the market share, respectively. Now, the owners of Kai Drinks are considering acquiring Abelardo and have hired you to assist in making this decision. Should your client, Kai Drinks, acquire its biggest competitor, Abelardo?
All right, thank you for all of this, Flavio. Well, I've never been to the Philippines, but I'm a big fan of soft drinks and would love to help with our client's acquisition deal. To make sure I've captured everything, let me just recap what you've just said. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Perfect. So, our client, Kai Drinks, is a market leader in the soft drink industry in the Philippines, holding 42% of the market share. Our client's two biggest competitors are Abelardo and Knox, with 28% and 20% of the market share respectively. Kai Drinks' owners now seek our advice on whether they should acquire its biggest competitor, Abelardo. Have I missed anything?
No, that's all correct.
Great. Before I proceed to analyze this question, may I ask a few clarifying questions to make sure I understand everything correctly?
Yes, sure. What do you need to know?
Thank you, Flavio. Firstly, what are the reasons behind this acquisition? Does Kai Drinks want to acquire its largest competitor to increase its market share even further? Or are there any other objectives?
Yes, you're right here. The aim is to capture synergies to increase Kai Drinks' market share and profits.
Okay, next, I'd like to know more about how Kai Drinks and Abelardo segment their sales. What are the main product lines they have?
Why do you want to know this?
I'd like to better understand Kai Drinks and Abelardo's revenue streams to identify possible synergies we can generate from this acquisition.
Okay, but we don't have that information.
How about their business model? I assume Kai Drinks is a typical beverage factory. They buy ingredients, mix and bottle them, and then sell to distributors. Is that right?
Exactly. They sell to wholesalers and retailers all over the Philippines.
Thank you, Flavio. I believe that's all I'd like to ask for now. Unless you think I missed anything, I feel I have enough information about the company. I'd like to take some time to structure my thoughts and answer the client's question on whether or not to acquire its biggest competitor. Does that sound okay to you?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you for your time, Flavio. To answer whether Kai Drinks should acquire its biggest competitor, I'd like to propose the following 4 steps. First, I will evaluate whether this decision makes sense from a business perspective, looking at qualitative aspects. Next, I will assess the economics of this decision, or the quantitative aspects of this decision. Third, I will consider the risks associated with this decision. And lastly, I will propose plausible alternatives if this acquisition does not work out. Are you happy with this approach?
It makes sense to me. You can continue.
Good. Starting with business sense, I will assess both Kai Drinks and Abelardo primarily in 3 areas. First, I will evaluate the company's financial health, focusing on factors such as profits and debt levels. Second, I will examine the potential synergies between both companies, including revenue synergies from cross-selling or expanding the customer base, as well as cost synergies such as bulk buying to reduce costs. Third, I will consider our M&A experience and evaluate the cultural fit with Abelardo to ensure a smooth acquisition process. Moving on to the second step, the economic analysis, I will primarily compare the acquisition price with the valuation of acquiring Abelardo for our client. When considering the valuation, there are 3 components we should consider. First is the standalone value, which represents the value of the company itself. Next is the present value of the synergies we can generate from this acquisition.
Haven't you already mentioned synergies in your previous step?
Yes, I did mention the types of synergies we can capture from this acquisition. However, here I want to quantify the synergies value in our economic analysis. So these 2 steps are different moments. We first brainstorm all kinds of synergies we can capture, and then we quantify in the economic analysis. Are you happy with this approach?
I see. Now it makes sense to me. Please continue.
Thank you. The third component in the valuation is the integration costs, which represent the negative impact on the valuation. For example, we may need to lay off people, upgrade systems, etc. We can use the NPV perpetuity formula to calculate those components and reach the true valuation of the business.
Makes sense.
Moving on to the third step, the risks. Here, I will discuss 3 main types of risks in this acquisition deal. First, we may encounter integration difficulties, such as an unexpected amount of time and energy needed to merge the companies and capture the synergies. Another type of risk is the reactions from various stakeholders.
What kinds of stakeholders may react to this acquisition?
Both internally and externally. Internally, the acquired Abelardo product sales may cannibalize Kai Drinks sales. Externally, regulators may forbid the biggest player from acquiring the second biggest player for antitrust reasons. Other competitors may also react aggressively in response to this decision. So these are the stakeholders I have in mind. Would you like me to elaborate more on that, or can I move on?
You can move on.
Great, thank you. The last type of risk is future trends. Perhaps future trends may not favor us. For instance, in the future, more people in the Philippines may pursue a healthier lifestyle and consume fewer soft drinks. Finally, if acquiring Abelardo seems unlikely after evaluating these areas, we can also look at a few alternatives.
Great. What are those?
First, if a full acquisition is unlikely, we can consider a partial acquisition or a partnership with Abelardo to reach our goal of increasing our market share and profits. Alternatively, we can explore acquiring another company or even entering new markets. The above is my analysis of the client's question. For the next step, I want to start assessing the business sense of this decision. I will first examine the synergies between the two companies because they are crucial to our client's end goal. Do we have any information on the two companies' current sales channels, revenue streams, and cost structures?
Thank you for your structured plan. It is very thorough, and you've touched on the right areas. Since you've mentioned starting with the synergies, what possible synergies are there for this acquisition by Kai Drinks?
As mentioned, I believe there are two main types of synergies that Kai Drinks can capture: revenue synergies and cost synergies. Let me expand on each. For the revenue synergies, let's start with price. Kai Drinks can benefit from higher pricing ability after this acquisition, as the overall market power will increase, enabling rising prices. For volume, they can sell to each other's customers and channels, and therefore increase in distribution footprint. Moreover, a larger brand created by the two biggest players may also attract new customers. Additional synergies may include having a stronger marketing team to launch more effective campaigns, as well as more resources for R&D to develop new products, further generating more sales. Moving on to the cost synergies, Kai Drinks can reduce its variable costs due to its higher negotiating power after the acquisition. This means they can bulk buy at once and therefore argue for lower prices or longer payment terms when purchasing raw materials from suppliers. I imagine they buy bottles, caps, syrup, sugar, preservatives, etc. Kai Drinks can also save fixed costs by consolidating production resources, consolidating production and selling idle assets, and combining teams and marketing budgets to achieve the same results with less investment. Moreover, even fewer warehouses or trucks may be needed once every stage in the supply chain is consolidated and idle stages are removed. So, those are all the synergies I've identified. I'm happy to expand on any point you're interested in or continue thinking about new synergies if you want to.
That's enough for now. Now, let me show you an exhibit. What insights can you draw from this table?
Thank you for sharing this, Flavio. Let me have a look. I can see this exhibit has two tables. The left table compares the two companies' cost per salesperson per year in US dollars and sales force efficiency. The right table shows the breakdown of the total number of clients in the Philippines for each player. I assume individual clients refer to the wholesalers we sell to. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. To recap the question, our client Kai Drinks wants to acquire Abelardo to capture synergies and grow its market share and profits. Let's start with the big picture first. Currently, Abelardo has 20,000 clients who only sell their products. If we acquire Abelardo, Kai Drinks can capture these 20,000 individual clients, and in return, Abelardo can sell to Kai Drinks 37,000 clients. Apart from this cross-selling synergy, I also see cost-cutting potential from the left table. On the left table, Abelardo is $5,000 cheaper in its cost per salesperson per year. Kai Drinks could combine the two companies' sales teams after the acquisition, potentially reducing costs by letting one salesperson sell both brands to the same clients. If that's the case in cutting salesperson's costs and acquiring more clients, the sales force efficiency would also increase. To summarize, I see both revenue and cost synergies from this exhibit. However, to verify whether this acquisition decision is worth making, my next step would be to calculate the impact of those synergies. Which area would you like me to focus on and calculate?
What is the potential sales force cost reduction for the combined company?
Just to recap, do you want me to calculate the potential cost savings for Kai Drinks if they apply the salaries and the productivity of one of the two companies on the entire combined entity? Is that right?
Yes.
Can I clarify a few points?
Yes, go ahead.
After the acquisition, I assume all of the other company's clients will be fully captured, right?
Yes, 100% of the distribution channels from each other will be captured.
Okay, next, I've noticed that there are clients who sell both companies' products. After the merger, we can serve them with only one contact point, right?
Your interpretation is correct.
I see, I will take that into account. Thank you for the information. Allow me some time to prepare my calculation plan. To understand the potential cost reduction on Salesforce for Kai Drinks, I want to calculate and compare two scenarios. First, I need to know the current costs of Salesforce from both companies, so we can pick the lowest one. I will calculate the total Salesforce costs before the merger, which is simply adding up costs today. Then I will calculate the total Salesforce costs before the merger, by multiplying the lowest Salesforce cost by the sum of total clients need to be served. The difference between those two numbers is the total cost reduction on Salesforce. Does this plan sound all right to you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to take some time to calculate these, and then I will present the results.
Sure.
Thank you for your time, Flavio. To find the cost per client, I divide the cost per salesperson by sales efficiency. Kai Drinks is $250, whereas Abelardo is $240. To consider the first scenario where Abelardo's best practice is not applied, and each company sticks with its current practice. For Kai Drinks, I multiply $250 by the total number of clients they will serve, which is 77,000, and this gives a total cost of $19.25 million. For Abelardo, multiplying $240 by 60,000 total clients to be served gives a total cost of $14.4 million. So, the total costs for the first scenario should be the sum of both, which is $33.65 million. Next, under the second scenario where we apply Abelardo's best practice after the acquisition, we can assume that the two sales teams are consolidated, so Kai Drinks doesn't need to approach those 40,000 clients who sell both companies twice. Therefore, under this scenario, the new total number of clients to be served is 97,000. Using Abelardo's best practice of $240 for serving one client multiplied by 97,000, the total cost under the second scenario is $23.28 million. Finally, to check the total savings in Salesforce cost for Kai Drinks after applying the best practice, I subtract $23.3 million from $33.7 million. May I round the numbers to $33.7 million and $23.3 million?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so this should give us around $10.4 million in savings in Salesforce cost. This is a very good cost synergy if we apply Abelardo's current salary of $30,000 to both companies after the acquisition, and this saving impact will accumulate year after year. However, we should also be aware of the possible risks of this decision. For example, Kai Drinks' salesperson may not accept a lower salary and may leave us. Therefore, next, I want to assess all kinds of risks associated with this acquisition decision before reaching a final judgment. Does that sound all right?
You've previously mentioned the possible risks that may be associated with this deal. Can you now expand further on all the possible risks of this acquisition?
Sure. To expand further here, I believe there are 5 specific risks that we should prioritize in assessing this acquisition.
What are they?
First is the legal risk. Given that Kai Drinks is the biggest player and wants to acquire the second biggest player, antitrust regulators may stop this acquisition. This is to avoid Kai Drinks holding a very high level of market share in the Philippines. Second, customers may turn away if they perceive our brand or Abelardo negatively.
Why is that the case?
If we choose to merge with another brand, we must thoroughly evaluate the other brand's reputation and history to mitigate any potential negative impact on our reputation. We haven't done that yet, so I think it's worth bringing it up here.
Okay, please continue.
Next, other market players might react aggressively. For example, they may also start M&A in response to our acquisition or launch a price war or aggressive promotion to steal as much market share from us as possible. Fourth, we haven't yet fully analyzed Abelardo's culture and people. If their organizational structure and decision-making style are very different from ours, and if we do not culturally fit with one another, it's likely that the employees would gradually leave us. Finally, we might also encounter IT issues where two companies' systems are not compatible. This could make future business operations more difficult and bring extra costs in integration. These are the risks I can think of at the moment. Would you like me to continue thinking about more or expand on any of them?
No, I think those are enough. Let's wrap everything up. Based on the analysis so far, should your client Kai Drinks acquire its biggest competitors, Abelardo?
May I take a few moments to organize my thoughts?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your time, Flavio. We want to answer whether Kai Drinks should acquire its biggest competitor, Abelardo. Based on the available information so far, Kai Drinks should acquire Abelardo. First, based on the data, Kai Drinks can expand its market share to 70% and have more channel coverage. This satisfies Kai Drinks' purpose of expanding their market share. Second, from the exhibit, we see both revenue and cost synergies between the two companies. Indeed, once we apply Abelardo's current practice in the sales force, we can save around $10.4 million for Kai Drinks after the acquisition. However, this decision comes with many risks as well. First, we have identified legal risks that may prevent Kai Drinks from acquiring Abelardo due to antitrust reasons and possible negative reactions from customers and competitors. Second, cultural differences between the two firms should not be underestimated. For example, implementing Abelardo's current cheaper practice for the Kai Drinks sales team may result in layoffs among our staff. Finally, IT integration difficulties could also hinder future business operations and the positive synergies in this deal. Therefore, I suggest the next step is to verify those risks, whether this decision can be implemented and conduct a full due diligence on Abelardo. Kai Drinks should also estimate the other large synergies in production and distribution as well. Thank you for listening, Flavio.
Thank you for your recommendations. The case is finished.